All right, we have Jeremy Camp playing live February 4th in Joplin, and we are so excited about that show. And I am so excited to be talking to Jeremy Camp on the phone in the studio here in KITG today. How you doing, Jeremy?
What is up? I'm great, man.
Awesome.
With my kids at home right now, so I'm stoked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was, we did a listener question, and one question, my wife, she was wondering if your wife went with you or if your kids or if you just kind of saw them in between shows or how that worked.
We kind of do both. It's kind of been one of those things where if I'm gone for too long, like if I go out on the West Coast and do the tour out west, they come with me. Or if I'm gone for, more than a week, they come with me. Because it's one of those things where we have a rule, like no more than a week. And if it's, a tour where I'm playing even 4 shows a week, home for 3 days, one part of that month they're going to come out with me for at least a weekend or two. And so it's just, we've always kind of been careful and made sure that, they're out and we don't spend that much time away from each other. Cause I just miss my family, and my family is, more important, and they know that. And so I got to make sure that's a priority. So,
well, one of the first questions I wanted to ask, well, first off, of course, I love the, We Cry Out, the worship project. And so I wanted to ask you, I'd love to know more about the writing and the producing of that and how God led you and what the idea is behind all that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just, I'm going to, every time I do the record, it's kind of like a new season in my life. And I always look back, and, you should look back, in a year and 2 years, whatever, and go, man, God's really taught me a lot. I've really grown, in those 2 years. Yeah. And I just feel like this was, I don't know, it was one of those albums where, I kind of just stepped back and said, all right, Lord, I've just kind of been doing my thing and just going, and it's been amazing. But what do you want me to do on this next record? It really was seeking Him for direction, because, this is a new direction kind of I'm going. In a sense, I've always done worship, but to do kind of a full-blown, worship project, after just kind of everything that's happened, was kind of stepping back from my introspective writing. I'm kind of an introspective writer. I kind of write, hey, this is what God's taught me, this is what I've been reading in the Word, and kind of describing things that's going on. This is more stepping back and just saying, God, I just give you all glory. I'm not, the songs like I'm not ashamed of the gospel, or let me tell the world that Jesus saves, and just all these songs that are just directed to saying, God, and all this stuff that's happened in my life, I'm at this point where I just want to step back and just say, thank you. You are good. You're holy. I give my all to you. And that's always been my writing, but just a little bit different direction. And I think I really kind of stepped back too and said, I don't need to write every song.
Yeah.
Because it's not, about me, and not that writing these songs, I always write it, about the Lord and what He's doing in my life. But I just felt like, listen, I want to do these songs, some of these songs that have been out there for a while that I've done live. I've already done some of these songs, like Mighty to Save live and Never Let Go, and just kind of been a part of Everlasting God, part of what I've just always done, because I've always done worship. And why not do those things that I love to do and just put it on a CD? Because, hey, I want to record this. I love this. This is passionate to me. And then, hey, let's get together with these different worship leaders, and write these songs that these guys have never written with. And I don't really write a lot with people. And I just felt like it was such a nice step back from just everything I was doing, just saying, man, let's get together with some people. Let's do some things that's going on right now, and write with some people that are already writing these amazing worship songs. And I wrote with Reuben Morgan, who wrote Mighty to Save, and I wrote with Brenton Brown. Me and him wrote We Cry Out, and Brenton Brown is the guy who wrote Everlasting God. It's a bunch of amazing worship songs. It was just a really good experience, and I felt like that my heart was refreshed a lot. And so this project, I just feel like I'm more excited about what I'm doing than I ever have been. When I first started, of course, you get excited because it's new, it's fresh, and I went through a lot in my life. And so I think that, I really had a perspective of, man, Lord, this is you, whatever. I'm just here to be a vessel. I know I'm not worthy, but you called me, so here I go. I'm willing. But I think that as years go by, sometimes you can get numb, and I feel like that, God's just taught me a lot, and I've realized a lot in my heart and things that He had to pull out. And this new record, I just feel like it was like, all right, Lord, complete surrender, and I'm just excited. Thank you so much for what you've done in my life, and I give you all honor and glory, amen. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it feels like. It's just how I feel. Yeah. And I am excited. I'm more excited than I feel like I ever have been doing what I'm doing. So,
like you said, you've done worship. I play on the worship team here. We do several of your songs already from previous albums. as
Right,
worship
right.
songs. But to actually, call this the worship project, I thought was interesting and really cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. So it's been a good season already. Just came out in August, and we're just along for the ride. So I'm pretty blown away. I know I don't deserve any of this, believe me. But God was gracious, and I'm thankful. So
awesome. I was wondering, we've been playing, of course, we're playing Jesus Saves a lot right now on our station. What do you think the next single release is going to be?
It's called The Way.
The Way, okay,
and that's probably my number one or number two song on the record that's my favorite. And just because I think I feel like it's one of those songs where I want to sing it around the world. Just to shine bright, let your glory fill this land, lift high the King of Kings and great I am. Jesus, you are the way, you are the way. It's just one of those, that's what I want to proclaim. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and no man can come to the Father except through him. Let that shine bright, and I think that, I don't know, I'm just very excited about that next single for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I also have the full iTunes things. I have the acoustic version. I love the acoustic version of it also.
Oh, man. Yeah, acoustic version is really cool.
I'm a big fan of acoustic versions, but yeah.
That's awesome. That's rad. Right on, buddy.
I also wanted to ask you then, here in Joplin, we're just kind of a small town, so we're really excited, even more than maybe other towns. But what could we tell? What would you have Joplin expect to experience at the Jeremy Camp show?
I always tell people, what do we expect? I always say, listen, come in with just a heart to worship and to be open. I share a lot of scripture and things that God's doing in my life. And for those who don't know Christ or struggling, please, those who've been through hardships, I've been through the loss of my wife 10 years ago, and, now I've been blessed with my beautiful family now. But, just sharing a lot of what God's done. And, I just pray, my heart is that you guys, people that come would be encouraged in their relationship with the Lord. Those who don't know Christ would come to know Christ. Those who are hurting would be comforted. And it's all through the Lord. It's not anything that because I'm going to get there and do something special. It's just so God's called me to do. And if I'm yielded to the Spirit and let Him do the work, then it's going to actually do a work in people's hearts. And that's why I have to get out of the way.
We did a thing where we submitted some listener questions. So we have one from Gina, and she wants to know, at what age did you know you wanted to be in music or do music? And then also, she kind of a two-parter. And then who were some of your influences when you were younger or starting out?
Awesome. Really, the funny thing is I played sports all my life. So my dad played music, not professionally, but just kind of around town. And he did worship at the church. And, I was raised in a Christian home. And but sports was my thing. I didn't pick up a guitar until I was 14. I actually was one day just finally said, "Hey, Dad, teach me some chords." He's played all my life and just never even thought about it. So he taught me some chords. And basically it was one of those things where I just started really enjoying it, picked it up really quick. I actually wrote my first song, that was crazy. And I was like, I don't know if I could write a song. It was just kind of one of those things that God naturally, I think, placed in my life because it was what He was calling me to do. And so I slowly kind of, I didn't lose interest for sports, but it wasn't my passion anymore. And then I started really having a heart for music. And then, when I was 16, I gave my heart, full on to the Lord. I went through just that typical raised in a Christian home, walk away and come back. So I had that typical testimony, but it really was something where God gripped my heart when I was 16, and I realized that He had called me, and I didn't know exactly what it was. I love music, but I wasn't set on anything. I didn't have any aspirations of that. I just had aspirations to draw closer to the Lord and to be used by Him, and so He did that through music. So. And what was the other one again?
The other one was you were just touching on it, but the other part of the question was, what were some of your influences, like musically? What would you say?
That's right. It's funny. I was really influenced by a lot of the Christian rock. So when I first started, it was like Res Band, the Garmo and Key, Mylon Lefevre, all those rock bands.
Oh, yeah.
And we listened to the Stephen Curtis and Martha Louise Smith and Anna Grant, but it was definitely more. We went to like a lot of the rock concerts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was very multi-influenced, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always loved Christian music, and when God called me into that, it wasn't one of those things where I was like, okay, I'll get in the